Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here at Game From Scratch. Today we have some more news from the Unity front, and wow, Unity has had a lot of news lately, and it basically goes back to about September of 2020 when Unity went public. This means they are now publicly traded on the stock exchange. Anyone can buy it. It also means that the owners and founders aren't really in control anymore. The board is now, and since they kind of went public, things have happened. Not all positive things, definitely not all positive things, because ultimately we ended with almost 5% of their workforce being laid off. This was immediately after they spent $1.6 billion on Weta Digital earlier in the year. They also bought Ziva Dynamics, they bought Parsec, and a number of other companies as well. So to follow up a purchasing or buying spree with layoffs from your core staff, it's not normally a good look. But then they capped all that off with just July 13th, so a little bit over a month ago, or a little under a month ago, actually, they offered to merge with IronSource. Now, IronSource, it was kind of basically IronSource would be part of Unity. They were valuing IronSource at $4 billion, but that was an entirely stock deal. So basically, everybody that worked at IronSource, or the owners of IronSource, would get $4 billion worth of Unity stock, and they would sort of merge as a new company. Now, if you're wondering what an IronSource is, well, they're kind of a monetization and analytics company for mobile applications. For the most part, they're honestly known, at least amongst the developer and gaming community, as a malware company. So that's not a really sterling reputation. So this announcement wasn't met with a ton of happiness by any means, but this was two companies whose stocks were absolutely in a nosedive. So it actually looked like a bit of a desperation move. Well, today we have new news. A company called AppLovin, which, by the way, is one of the dumbest names I have ever heard for a company in my life, proposed a $17.5 billion deal to buy Unity software. Now, that headline is misleading. They're not technically buying Unity. What they would do is essentially merge with Unity and become actually the smaller company. We'll get back to that in just a second, but it would value Unity currently at $17.5 billion, which after their IPO, they were valued at about $13 billion, but shortly after that IPO period, they'd gone up to about the $40 or $50 billion valuation before their stock came crashing down to earth. So this is kind of a small valuation in a way. So let's go look at some of the details of this announcement. So the deal would value Unity at $58.85 a share. Price would equate to a $17.5 billion worth of value. Under the proposal, Unity shareholders would control 55% of the combined company and appoint a majority of the board, but only have 49% of the voting rights. Why did you just move? I hate when ads move the web page layout. The company would be led by Unity Chief Executive John Ricciatello, everybody's favorite CEO, which, by the way, led Electronic Arts in 2012 and 2013 to be the worst company in America, back to back. First time any CEO has ever managed that feat. So he's got a heck of a resume. Good job there, John. Well, he would stay in charge, while AppLovin CEO Adam Foroughi would be the chief operating officer. A person from Unity basically said, yeah, we got the offer. The board is going to evaluate it. And that's about the extent of their comments. So AppLovin makes tools for app developers to improve marketing and revenue generation. Unity kind of does the same thing, to be honest. They tried building all of these, they call it Unity Operate, and a number of other divisions for doing this kind of stuff as well. So they're kind of looking to become a one-stop shop for tools and resources for mobile games and other app developers. A little scary that they're looked at as a mobile-only developer at this point in time. Now, the other thing about this is, okay, so AppLovin kind of does the exact same thing that IronSource does. So where does that leave IronSource? Well, that actually would call for Unity to terminate its planned acquisition of IronSource, worth $4.4 billion. And by the way, that has an exit cost of, I think, about $110 million, I had read somewhere else. So it's interesting to see how it goes about. Now, this actually isn't that strange when you hear it, because if you look at AppLovin themselves, which beyond having a very stupid name, you'll look at their revenue was at just shy of $3 billion last year, and they made $35 million net income. So that doesn't sound amazing for billion-dollar companies, but let's go take a look at Unity's equivalent right now. So they made half of the revenue, and they lost $500 million. So AppLovin is actually, like right now, financially, the more stable of the two companies. Now, you would argue, though, that Unity has more growth potential, that the game engine market is probably more valuable in the long run than the analytics and monetization market, and the fact that Unity is trying to grow in those spaces as well. So in the long run, are the Unity shareholders going to determine that they're better off on their own with the system they're at? They do have like a fiduciary responsibility to shareholders to do the deal that is best for them. That also includes turning it down if they don't think that that $55 a share value was actually worth it for their current and future valuation. So speaking of the stock values here, AppLovin is currently trading at 36 US. Here, let me just do a quick refresh, see what that's done in the morning. Okay, so it's actually gone up. So we've come back up from a 10% fall overnight. We're kind of clawing a little bit of that back. So 37.88 a share right now. And then after market closed, Unity actually jumped on this announcement to $50.35 per share. And we will refresh that into today. And they are now at $52.31 a share, which is interesting because as their share price goes up, it kind of makes the AppLovin premium that they're offering on this share value go down. So it's normal that a company that is going to be bought out in this kind of like the acquisition target is their stock almost always goes up, and that's what we are seeing here. Although we are also seeing a bit of a, so we went, let's see, 53.41, and we're down to 52.31. So I don't know if they're going to hold on to that 4 or 5% gain that they have so far today, but it is interesting. So let me know what you think of Unity in general, where Unity's going, Unity and their acquisition of IronSource, and then AppLovin coming in and saying, no, don't choose IronSource, choose us, we'll merge, get rid of IronSource. And then there's IronSource sitting in their background going, oh. So what do you think of all this? Let me know. Comments down below. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.